Hey guys, Backyard Farmer Pat here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I filled up this bed that was half empty with volunteers that I found throughout my garden. Didn't have to go out and start any seeds, did not have to go out and buy, guys. I planted this out all using volunteers. So let's go ahead, let's get started and fill this bed up. Guys, remember in my November 22 days of harvest video, I harvested a ton of sweet potatoes from this bed, as well as a couple of African yams, and actually one large, very large, almost 28-pound African yam. Well, now the bed is empty. I've sprinkled some chimichinsai here and they've come up very well. Also sprinkled some yotfa broccoli, but my chickens got out twice, guys, and you can see each time they go straight for the yotfa broccoli and for the kohlrabi. They love the kohlrabi and the yotfa broccoli, so you can see this is eaten up. So I want to maximize this bed. So there's still a whole lot of space out here. There is some weeds popping up, as well as you can see some sweet potatoes are here. I'm going to pull that up. I also see back here, that is a bok choy. That one right there is a bok choy that is springing up among the yotfa broccoli. So what I want to do is I want to fill this bed in with just vegetables, just greens. But guys, I want to actually not plant any more seeds, but I'm going to do it all from transplants. That whole area there is weeds. I'm going to pull those weeds. So first, let's pull the weeds. I see one of my another yam head sticking out there. I think I'm just going to harvest that yam. But we're going to go ahead and pull the weeds out. Then we're going to do something very different today. I'm going to go through the garden and see what I can plant, what I can find to plant from volunteers that popped up. It's quite a few volunteers that popped up in the garden. So let's get started, guys. We're going to be filling up this bed, hopefully filling up this bed using volunteers from throughout the garden. All right, so there were barely any weeds here. So I went ahead and it took me maybe 2 minutes to pull up the few weeds that were here. And I also pulled up 2 of the African yams that were growing. This is the winged yam, or the alata, the one that I harvested during the 22 days of Thanksgiving harvest. You can see what this looks like. And guys, this yam here, this yam, I actually planted a yam head from a piece of yam I got directly from Africa. You can see the difference in how these yams look. This one came straight from Africa, still has a lot of roots here. I'm gonna replant this one here. This is the only yam I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna pull up the rest of the yams. I also pulled up some sweet potato slips that were popping up. I'm gonna put these in a pot because, as I said, I wanna dedicate this bed mainly to just the greens. This one I'll absolutely keep. I think I'm gonna stick with this African yam and probably yellow yams. The rest of the bed will be greens. So make my little hole, plant back my yam, make sure to tuck all these roots in, and we'll check back with this baby this fall. We're now in January, so we'll check back this fall. And guys, how could I forget? Where are my manners? Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Thank you guys for spending this first week of the new year watching Backyard Farmer Pat. Really appreciate each and every one of you. All right, guys, so let's get this started. Let's go see what we can transplant on this nice long area of vegetable bed. Let's go find some stuff to transplant. So the first thing that caught my eye that I want to transplant is this beautiful bok choy. So guys, this is a volunteer. I had planted bok choy in that bed last year or early last spring, and I think I had it in both beds. Not quite sure, but I know I had it in this bed. And quite a few of these have popped up around the perimeter. So this is a nice big one. This can actually be harvested to eat already, but I'm not quite ready for it yet. So should I harvest this? It's so big. I feel almost like I need to leave it there. Here's another smaller one behind it. So to get your transplant, you just move the soil and dig in. Guys, it's so wonderful growing your own food, and it's so wonderful finding free food. Can you believe I did not plant any of this Shanghai bok choy this year? But you know, this volunteer came up, these volunteers came up, and now I'm gonna have Shanghai broccoli and bok choy without planting it. All right, so let's bring it over here and plant our first one. I'm gonna plant it in this section. Speaking of volunteers, guys, there's another volunteer that's a castor bean. I'm probably gonna transplant that into a pot. I'm not growing any more castor beans here. Castor bean, I absolutely love the plant. It's a plant that the tree that when it grows up is a tree that you get your castor oil from. And you know castor oil is very expensive. However, the beans are toxic. The beans can literally kill a grown human being, and the seeds fly all over the place. So you don't want, like, I don't want my chickens getting it by mistake, or dogs, or you never know what can happen. So as much as I hated to cut mine down, I cut mine down. But of course, the seeds had already spread, so they're popping up. So as they pop up, I pull them out or transplant them. Alright guys, I am planting my first bok choy. Put the root all the way down. Put my root all the way down. Pressing it in place. Then these lower leaves that are already chewed up, I'm going to remove those lower leaves. I guess some insect got those lower leaves. These chewed up leaves, I will feed them to the chickens. Plus, this will allow the roots to catch up with it. So there, I have my first one. Let's get some more. So we have one more Shanghai bok choy here. I saw some more here. We have one over here. Let's see if we have any more. And we have one here, one over here, beside the big one. So I'm going to transplant those out. So far we have 5 more bok choy. And guys, look, mustard greens and more mustard greens. And I'd already transplanted some maybe 2 months ago that popped up. And guys, look at the ones that I transplanted 2 months ago. And I've already eaten from them several times. Let me show you. Guys, I had transplanted. Some of these I planted from seed, but the other ones I transplanted. And guys, from the volunteers, and guys, look, you can't even tell the difference between what I transplanted and what were volunteers. And we have been eating good of these mustard greens, believe me, guys. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and transplant the rest of volunteers, and let's see if we have enough to fill up the bed or if I need to get some more. Alright guys, so we got 5 plants, and guys, it's a lucky thing I pulled that big one up. Literally the whole root ball was out of the ground and just resting there. So I'm not sure about an animal or something started pulling it up. Let's see what else we have. So my people, I just discovered this morning, literally. Guys, do you know what this is? This beautiful green here, guys. This is all Kalalo. The Kalalo normally is a summer crop, but I guess we've been having pretty mild winter, and I do have some old Kalalo plants that I allow to go to seed right beside it. This is right over by my sugarcane and my lemongrass. Guys, I have a whole forest of Kalalo here. I'm not going to transplant these. Kalalo, of course, these pop up all over my grass, so I can literally fill a bed with just Kalalo. As you can see, if I transplanted these, this would probably be enough for a full bed. Kalalo has these little seeds that fly all over the place and they pop up. So I really want to control it. I don't want a Kalalo to take over my bed. The last time I put Kalalo in a bed with other vegetables, it basically took it over. So I'm just going to be able to eat Kalalo from this patch. Some of these are they're ready to harvest. They look nice and fat and ready, which I'm very surprised, very happy about that. All right, so let's see what else we can find. Okay, this is a volunteer. I'm not going to transplant it, but I had to show you real quick. A watermelon seed must have fallen in a pot that I had and it sprung up. So I took the seedling and planted it in this bed with my onions. Maybe, I'm not sure how long ago. I just stuck it in there, didn't know what was going to do. And guys, look at it. It is spreading all over the place. And it has watermelons on there, guys. It has little baby watermelons. I don't know what kind of watermelon it is. I don't know if it's store-bought watermelon or if it's a seed that maybe fell from me. Not sure what kind it is, but hey, it's watermelon and it's free. If I get a fruit to actually come up, fine. I do have several little ones. And if not, hey, I can use it as compost. It's free. Didn't cost me anything. All right, so let's see what else we have. Have my 5 bok choy and oh wow, I didn't notice this before, guys. That's a tomato plant. I have no idea what kind of tomato, but I'm gonna transplant it. I can let this run on the little trellis behind the greens. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what kind this is. I guess we'll find out together. Gonna transplant a tomato. So guys, you know, once you start growing food, these things happen to you. Food just keeps growing. The food wants to grow, guys. The food wants to grow. All right, got my tomato plant. Let's go get some more stuff. Look at that. Still have a whole bunch of passion fruit coming in. Still have a whole lot of passion fruit harvesting. All right, let's see what else we can transplant. Let's get these mustard greens. I have mustard greens in both spots. Let's get these mustard greens. This whole bed was mustard greens last spring. And right now I have scotch bonnets. And as you can see, the bed is dug up. I have retransplanted these scotch bonnets like probably 5 times. Each time the chickens come in and dig them out. Look at that. Chickens, jeez. What is this? They dug something else up. One scotch bonnet is surviving. These chickens, I don't know. They keep escaping. Oh, they are like escape artists. Let me try to push this one back in the ground. Oh boy. These chickens. And they like the nice loose soil. This soil is nice and loose because I have my seedlings in there. And that's the soil that they go to first. They dig up the seedlings. They don't touch these big established plants. They dig up the seedlings. All right, let's get these mustard greens. And when you're digging these up, guys, try and get below the root structure. That's why you don't see me just pulling. I try to get below the root and pull up. Let's get this. All right, so we have 8 transplants so far, guys. 8 transplants. I have in the chicken run area a ton of the. Wait a minute, how does she get out? These chickens, guys. These chickens. I have no idea how they're getting out, guys. So I'm gonna put the Shanghai broccoli. You can see I already put one. That's the one that I put in the ground before. I'm gonna put these additional 6, guys. 6 Shanghai broccoli in front of the Yodfa broccoli. And for the mustard greens, I'm going to put them back there because those are going to be huge. So I found 3 mustard greens. A couple of them are tiny, but one is a good size. I'm going to put those 3 mustard greens in the ground back there. That will quickly fill up that space. And guys, for my little tomato, this is going to be perfect right along the fence. Right along this arch. So I'm going to put the tomato like right there. I'm gonna do the tomato first. With tomato plants, you always plant it very deep. So I'm gonna plant it, take off these two lower branches and plant it all the way deep. Plant it up right up against the trellis, and cannot wait to see what this is gonna be. It's probably a seed that was eaten by a bird or an animal, maybe pooped out right there. And there we have it. Remove the two lower limbs, lower leaves, and pile it up. This soil is pretty rich, so I don't really need to fertilize it. I'd recently planted the chimichinsai and the yodfas. They came up fine, so I can probably give it a drink of fish emulsion. That's probably what I'll do, but no fertilizer needed. Just fish emulsion or my compost tea, my homemade compost tea. All right, so I'm gonna plant these and I'll get right back to you. Okay guys, so I planted out the mustard greens. I planted them about 2.5 feet apart. No, I planted them maybe a foot and a half apart because these leaves are massive. These leaves can easily get to 18 inches for one leaf. So even putting them this far apart, they're gonna probably grow into each other. So that's gonna fill up this area. And let's go look at the bok choy. And here are the bok choy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 bok choy in all. 7 that I transplanted. So that's gonna fill up this whole area with bok choy. Then I have the yodfa broccoli behind it. Those are popping up nicely. Yodfa broccoli is gonna get pretty tall. So if you notice what I did, the shorter plants, the shorter vegetables I put at the very front. Yodfa broccoli, that's gonna be one layer up. Also gonna thin it out a bit and move them to the back. And the Florida broadleaf mustard greens are going to be huge. It's my first time planting chimichinsai. They're growing up nicely. They look very green, very healthy. I'm not sure how tall these are going to get. Doesn't look like they're going to get very big, but you guys can let me know if you've already had chimichinsai. It's my very first time. Looking forward to it. I believe they said it's like a Chinese spinach. It's like a Chinese spinach. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to mulch it in well and then give it a good soaking. You want to mulch it in first because you don't want any splashing up and causing leaf disease. My basil that's right here is beginning to get some leaf spot. That always happens with basil. If the area below it isn't mulched properly, that happens. The reason I didn't mulch the area is because when I sow the seeds, I don't like to mulch right after I sow the seeds because I want to make sure the seeds come up. These were all direct sown. Now that the seedlings have popped up, I'm going to mulch the area well. I'm going to remove all the bad leaves off the basil and, mulch it well, water it, and then we should be good to go after that. All right, so here's what it looks like, all mulched in and well watered. You can see some of the leaves are a little bit wilted, but that's okay. Guys, in no time, these are going to be big and delicious. This is just a small amount of veggies that I transplanted from throughout my garden. Oh, as a matter of fact, here are the yams. These 2 yams are going to make a couple of nice dinners. Yeah, as I was saying, these are just a couple of the vegetables that popped up throughout my garden, guys. I have stuff all over my garden that are popping up that I didn't plant there, but they just dropped from seeds. So I hope this encourages you guys. Once you plant any seed-bearing plant, this can happen. I have probably a good 10-15 sweet potato transplants, sweet potato slips that I pulled up also. There are still some sweet potato slips in there that I didn't get, but I'll get to that as time goes on. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope this encouraged you to go on out there, plant a seed today, guys. Yesterday would have been a great time to start, but today is just as good as yesterday.